Sagittarius, this Friday is no ordinary day. It's your turning point. 3 life-changing blessings are already in motion, and they're headed straight toward you. This is your moment of divine timing, your hour of sacred alignment. You didn't find this message by coincidence. You were led here. The energy of July 10th is unlike any other. On this date, the stars shift. The tarot speaks, and your soul finally receives what it has been silently praying for. 3 powerful breakthroughs, a spiritual release, a destined soul connection, and a material opportunity are aligning just for you. Not 1, not 2, 3, and each one touches a different corner of your destiny. They are not random. They are responses, answers, movements that prove you were seen in the silence, even when you thought heaven was quiet. Sagittarius, take a breath. Let that settle into your spirit. You've waited long enough. You've fought long enough. And now the door that was always meant for you is opening, not slowly, but clearly, unmistakably, undeniably. The planets confirm it. Jupiter, your ruling planet, forms a rare harmony with Uranus, unlocking the kind of frequency shift that only comes once in a long cycle. The tarot confirms it too, with the Tower and the Star emerging side by side. First the necessary dismantling, then the expansive rebirth. First the collapse, then the promise of open horizons. You've already survived the hardest part. This is not your collapse, this is your comeback. And this channel, Cosmic Treasure, was created for moments like this, when your soul is ready to rise and the world is finally ready to meet you, Sagittarius. If you felt trapped, like your prayers have gone unanswered or your energy has been stuck in limbo, this message is for you. This Friday, July 10th, marks a sacred hour when heaven and earth move in your favor. This is a chosen window, and you are the one being chosen. That inner whisper, the one that told you not to give up, that said something big, is still coming. That whisper was right. You didn't imagine it. You intuited it. And now I want to invite you into something deeper. This is more than a prediction. This is a mirror, a reflection of who you really are beneath all the fear and fatigue. A divine being in motion, aligned with a greater plan. So before we dive into what these 3 blessings are and how they'll manifest, I want to pause and acknowledge you. I see you and I honor you for showing up. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Every like, every comment, every subscription brings you deeper into the spiritual family we're building here at Cosmic Treasure, a space for clarity, healing, and purpose. Your support allows us to keep bringing forward messages like this. And I promise you, Sagittarius, this one is truly special. If your heart is already resonating with this frequency, if something in you knows this Friday is a day you were born to meet, then don't just watch, participate. Leave a comment below right now to claim your space in this prophecy. You can write, "I'm ready for my 3 blessings on July 10th." Or say, "I accept the divine shift that's unfolding." When you type those words, you're not just engaging, you're aligning. You're giving the universe permission to act. Now, let's begin. Because what's about to unfold will change everything. Sagittarius, if you've made it here, something deep within you already knows. A door you once thought permanently closed is about to unlock. Not metaphorically, but energetically, spiritually, and even practically. What's happening around July 10th is not simply a moment of good luck. It's the culmination of your brave pursuit of truth. The planets in their ancient rhythm are aligning in your favor, and the message is clear. Your breakthrough begins when you stop looking for the truth outside yourself and trust the wisdom you already carry. This rare and powerful harmony between Jupiter, your ruling planet, and Uranus brings with it what I call a cosmic treasure correction. Jupiter governs expansion, truth, and philosophical leaps. The kind of movement that doesn't just touch your outer world, but fills your spirit with unstoppable optimism. Uranus, the planet of sudden change and radical freedom, brings the bolt of lightning, the inspiration, and the path toward authentic self-expression. When these 2 energies harmonize, it's like your soul clock striking midnight. Not in an end, but in a beginning. And perhaps without even realizing it, your spirit has been waiting years for this bell to ring. Energy that has been locked, stuck behind invisible walls, unspoken fears or mental exhaustion begins to move. It may start subtly, like the lifting of mental fog, or as clearly as a dream that feels more real than waking life. Pay attention. These are not random. They are signs that the universe is speaking in the language of symbols, intuition, and frequency. It's as if all your past experiences have gathered together and are now pointing you toward one sacred beginning. In that still space between breath and belief, the universe says, "It's time." You may find yourself remembering who you were before the world asked you to shrink. You may begin to dream again, not just in sleep, but while awake. A lightness enters your chest. The heavy weight of not knowing begins to lift, and in its place comes clarity. Not all at once, but in layers, like sunlight returning after a long overcast season. If you feel drawn to rearrange your space, clear out a drawer, or simply sit in silence, do it. That's your body responding to the shift. Create room, literally and energetically, for what's arriving. If you've been overstimulating your mind, too much caffeine, too much noise, too much scrolling, consider softening the environment within and around you. Drink water with intention. Light a candle at dusk. Begin a practice of quieting your mind before sleep. Why? Because dreams are sacred carriers, and around this time they may hold exact coordinates to your next step. Spiritually speaking, the scripture from Psalm 18:1-19 speaks directly to this moment. He brought me out into a spacious place. He rescued me because he delighted in me. That line doesn't just speak of escape. It speaks of purpose. You weren't meant to stay stuck. You weren't meant to be forgotten. You were meant to emerge, to walk through this door, to claim your life back with reverence and confidence. You don't need to force this shift. You only need to say yes to it. Say yes to peace. Say yes to movement. Say yes to the possibility that this right here, right now, is your opening. If this resonates, pause and feel it in your body. Let the confirmation rise from within. And if you feel called, leave a comment below to anchor it. I'm ready to step into my breakthrough. Your words are not just statements, they are energetic contracts. And this time, Sagittarius, the universe is ready to sign with you. Sagittarius. As you move deeper into this sacred journey, the energy begins to shift, not just around you, but within you. After the emotional unlocking of that long sealed door, the universe does not leave you in the echo of emptiness. Instead, it prepares you to receive what was always meant to find you at the right frequency in the right season. And now that moment has arrived, the arrival of a destined soul. This part of your story is not about rescue, but resonance. You're not being saved, you're being seen. There is a profound difference, and what's coming your way is not a temporary connection, not a fleeting distraction, but a soul that carries the vibration necessary to awaken dormant parts of you. Not because they are perfect, but because their presence vibrates at a level that your soul instantly remembers. In today's tarot reading, the appearance of both the Lovers and Two of Cups is a rare and sacred pairing. It speaks of harmony not born from convenience, but from alignment. These two cards appearing together often signify the intersection of personal destiny and relational purpose. They are not about superficial romance, but about energetic recognition. This connection may not make logical sense. In fact, it probably won't, but your soul will recognize it before your mind can make sense of it. That is how divine timing works. It bypasses reason to reach your resonance. You may meet someone new or reconnect with someone from your past. But this time the energy will be different, evolved, precise, sacred. It could be a romantic partner, a collaborator, a mentor, or someone who simply arrives at the perfect moment to say something that opens a part of you you'd forgotten was closed. And when they appear, it won't feel like chaos or confusion. It will feel like breath, like home. Energetically, this moment is supported by the color turquoise, a hue known to open the heart chakra while strengthening intuitive clarity. If you're drawn to wear it or place it near your space on July 10th, it's not just aesthetic, it's alignment. Color carries frequency, and turquoise is the tone of spiritual conversation, emotional truth, and soul-to-soul recognition. It's easy to doubt something that shows up so suddenly. especially if your heart has been conditioned to expect disappointment. But I invite you to soften, not blindly, but bravely. Let your heart loosen its armor long enough to notice who enters when you're not guarding the gate. Often the people who arrive when you're finally ready to receive, not fix, are the ones meant to walk beside you, not ahead of you or behind. This isn't about losing yourself in someone else's story. It's about being witnessed in your own. Relationships of this kind challenge you to evolve, not because they demand it, but because they inspire it. You begin to dream again. You begin to trust your own voice again, not because someone gave it to you, but because their presence reminded you that it was always yours. If you've ever prayed for a sign that you're not meant to walk alone, this may be it. If you've ever asked for a soul companion to reflect your light back to you when you forget how to shine, this may be them. But remember, this person does not complete you. They meet you. They amplify what you already carry. They help you remember what you were born knowing, but may have buried beneath exhaustion or fear. If this message stirs something inside you, trust it. Let it speak to the places that long to be met with presence, not performance. And if your heart whispers yes, even faintly, take that as your cue to listen closer. Now, if this resonates with you in any way, I invite you to anchor it into your timeline. Comment below. I am ready to meet the soul that aligns with my next chapter. These words are not just declarations, they are sacred invitations. Permission slips for the universe to deliver what your spirit already knows is near. Sagittarius, this is where everything begins to materialize. After the inner clarity, after the soul connection, now comes the part that touches your real-world experience, your finances, your work, your physical stability. This third good news is not just symbolic, it's tangible. It's the sign that the energy you've been shifting internally is ready to show up in the outer world. And it's doing so fast. The presence of the Wheel of Fortune in the center of your tarot spread speaks volumes. This is not a card of slow progress or subtle shifts. It is a card of destiny in motion, rapid, divine, unmistakable, combined with Mars, the planet of drive and direct action, activating your house of resources. The message is undeniable. Something big is moving, and it's about to land directly in your hands. What's important to understand here is that this change will feel sudden, but it isn't random. The opportunities that show up now, that unexpected message, that overdue refund, that job offer, or that influential person extending a hand, are all arriving because your energy finally matches your desires. This is how alignment works. You don't chase, you attract, and you've done the work. You've cleared old emotional patterns, you've softened into deeper trust, and you've surrendered your need to control every outcome. That surrender created space, and now the universe is filling it, not with empty promises, but with real, measurable shifts. Still, even destiny requires participation. The wheel may spin in your favor, but you must be willing to step into the opportunity. If you hesitate too long, let fear dictate your response or believe that you're not worthy of what's coming. You risk delaying what's already yours. Think of this phase as a sacred collaboration between spirit and strategy. You are not meant to just receive passively. You are meant to respond boldly, energetically. This moment calls for both faith and action. Faith that the door opening in front of you leads somewhere meaningful, action to walk through it with clarity and confidence. Mars brings the fire. The wheel brings the momentum. Your role now is to listen to the signs and move not out of desperation, but out of recognition. You will know this is your moment by the way it feels, grounded yet expansive, familiar yet elevated. From a self-help lens, this is the perfect time to revisit the things you've been putting off, that course you never finish, that idea you shelved for months, that uncomfortable conversation you've been avoiding. All of them are tied to this shift. When the universe says yes, don't respond with maybe. Step into the yes with a strategy that reflects your worth. Financially, consider revisiting your spending patterns. Apply the 50-30-20 rule. 50% for essentials, 30% for joy and flexibility, 20% for savings or investments that expand your value. But more than managing money, ask yourself, where does your energy go each day? And is that investment generating any kind of spiritual or material return? You're not meant to hustle endlessly or wait forever. You're meant to move in rhythm with your own intuitive intelligence, a power that not only senses opportunity, but honors its arrival. If you feel the pulse of something new rising around you right now, don't question it. Acknowledge it, anchor it. Speak this affirmation aloud. I do not chase wealth. I attract abundance through the healing power of my energy. Then take the first step. Declutter your space. Send that email. Accept the invitation. Open the message. Do the thing that opens the next thing. Because this is not a season of waiting anymore. This is the moment the universe mirrors back your readiness in real time. And if this resonates with you, take a breath. Feel the truth in your body and write it below. I am ready for the breakthrough that changes my reality. Your words create motion. Let them lead you forward. When it comes to a moment as cosmically charged as July 10th, the key isn't just in understanding the energy. It's in knowing how to engage with it. Energetic alignments, no matter how rare or powerful, require one crucial ingredient to manifest their full potential: conscious participation. And this part of your journey, Sagittarius, is where listening turns into claiming and awareness becomes action. We've spoken of doors opening, of breakthroughs arriving, of soul connections crossing dimensions to meet you. But now we pause not to wait, but to align, because timing alone is never enough. Your frequency must meet the moment. This is why ritual, or what I call energetic anchoring, matters. It's not about superstition or formality, it's about focus. It's about directing your intention with clarity and reverence. The universe responds to clarity, not chaos, not noise, not scattered hope, but a grounded, intentional yes that vibrates through every layer of your being. The ritual for July 10th begins with simplicity. Color turquoise, a color that bridges heart and throat, becomes your ally. Wearing this shade, even subtly, acts like tuning your instrument before a performance. It signals to your body and energy field that today is different, sacred, and deserves your full attention. It tells your cells to soften. It tells your aura to expand. It prepares you to receive. The second act of this practice is release. Writing down 3 things you're ready to let go of is more than a symbolic gesture. It's a contract with your higher self. It says, I am no longer aligned with this weight. And when you burn that paper safely and mindfully, you transmute old energy into smoke. You return it to the ethers, no longer bound to your timeline. This is how spiritual composting works. Nothing wasted, everything transformed. Next, placing your hand over your heart and speaking your readiness aloud is a sacred technology of its own. The heart is not just an organ. It's your electromagnetic center. When you speak your intention from this space, you imprint it not only into your consciousness, but into the very field around you. Saying, I am ready to step into the destiny prepared for me, isn't about begging the universe. It's about standing in agreement with it. It's about matching the vibration of what you've asked for and letting yourself feel safe enough to receive it. If you've ever felt like you've been waiting your whole life for something to shift, this moment is not a fantasy. It's a frequency, and ritual is how you meet it. This practice is gentle, but its effect is profound. It bridges spirit and body, thought and form. It reminds you that you are not just a bystander in your journey. You are an active co-creator in it, and that power doesn't come from forcing outcomes. It comes from showing up fully, vulnerably, and in alignment with what you say you're ready for. Let this be your pause, your prayer, your preparation. Let it be the whisper that turns into a wave. You are not just listening to guidance, you are answering it. And if your heart feels cold right now, anchor your energy by writing in the comments below, I am ready to activate my July 10th breakthrough. Not just as a statement, but as a sacred signal, a declaration of alignment. Because this time, Sagittarius, the moment isn't just coming, it's already here, and you are finally ready to meet it. Sagittarius, this is the moment when everything begins to make sense. After the energetic release, after the divine alignment of souls, after the unexpected material breakthrough, you find yourself standing at the threshold of something even deeper. Self-authority, not control, not manipulation, but quiet, sacred power. This phase of your journey isn't about chasing the next sign or waiting for the next wave to hit. It's about recognizing that you are the one who gets to walk through the gate. You are no longer the person merely hoping for the light. You are the one who carries it forward. There is a quiet kind of rebirth happening now, and unlike the dramatic transformations that came before, this one doesn't require fire. It requires stillness. It requires choice. This is the sacred terrain of self-ownership. It's the realization that the pain you walk through, the delays that confused you, the people who left without explanation, none of it was wasted. It was preparation. Soil turned and softened for new seeds to take root. You are not broken from what you've endured. You are blooming from it. Every tear, every late-night prayer, every moment of self-doubt that somehow didn't stop you from showing up the next day, they all brought you here. And that's the hidden truth most people miss. That breakthrough isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a soft realization that you've outgrown the room you've been sitting in. Sometimes it's simply not needing to ask for permission anymore. The version of you that emerges after this chapter doesn't need constant confirmation. They are clear, aligned, grounded in something eternal and quiet. This final message, this is not just a celebration of what's coming. It's a reminder of who you've become to receive it. It's easy to think of good news as something external. The job, the money, the relationship. But the truth is, the best news is internal. It's discovering that you are not the same person who once questioned their own worth. You survived the fire. You've heard the silence. You've waited when no one clapped for you. And yet, you kept choosing growth. That kind of faith in yourself creates ripples in the universe that cannot be ignored. From the perspective of cosmic timing, this July 10th gateway is not about fate choosing you at random. It's about you choosing your own path with consciousness. The universe never stopped sending signals, but now you finally believe that they are meant for you. You finally believe you're worthy of ease, of flow, of elevation. This is what spiritual maturity feels like. Not the absence of fear, but the willingness to move anyway. In this space, self-trust becomes sacred. And that trust rewrites your story. Where you once waited for others to validate your voice, you now write the narrative yourself. Where you once feared change, you now welcome it as proof that life still flows through you. Where you once tolerated less, you now stand in the fullness of your light without apology. If you feel this truth rising in you, I invite you to name it out loud here and now. Let the comment you leave below become a digital prayer, an energetic signature. I choose to walk through the door that was always meant for me. These are not just words. They're reminders, anchors, beacons that signal to your own heart that you are ready, not someday now. Because Sagittarius, you were never waiting on life. Life was waiting on you, and now that you've remembered who you are, it's ready to meet you where you stand. Sagittarius, if you've made it this far, pause for just a moment. Breathe deeply. Let everything you've just heard settle into your body, not as ideas, but as possibilities already taking form. What you experienced today wasn't just a forecast. It was a calling, a whisper through time that reached you, because your soul is finally ready to say yes, not just to blessings, but to the version of yourself that can hold them, embody them, and grow with them. You are no longer who you were before this message began. You've crossed a subtle, invisible threshold. Maybe you can't see it yet, but I trust that you can feel it in your chest, in your intuition, in that rising sense of hope you're almost afraid to believe in. Don't silence it. Nourish it. That feeling is the first signal that you are already aligning with what was once out of reach. The universe has opened the door. The stars have cleared the way. But walking through that choice belongs to you. Will you soften enough to receive? Will you trust your readiness, even if it still feels unfamiliar? Will you move forward, even if no one else understands why now? Why this? Why you? You see, miracles rarely shout. They arrive gently, disguised as clarity, timing, alignment. What you've received here is a blueprint, but only you can build the new reality that's waiting to meet you. This isn't about doing it perfectly. It's about doing it with presence, with grace, with faith that what is unfolding is already written in the language of your destiny. So I ask you now, what will you do with what's been given to you? What will you release to make room for what's coming? What old belief are you willing to trade for the truth that you are ready, worthy, and chosen for more? I invite you to take a sacred action right now. Write it, speak it, declare it in the comments below. Type, I'm ready for my breakthrough on July 10th, or I receive the 3 divine blessings meant for me. These words are more than reactions. They are anchors, energetic agreements between you and the life that's about to emerge from within you. And if this message has touched something deep inside you, don't let it be the last. Like, share, subscribe, and tap the bell so that you never miss a message from Cosmic Treasure. Because what's coming is not just a season, it's a sacred cycle of transformation. And this moment is the beginning of your 12-year rise. Thank you from the depths of my heart for your presence here today, for every listen, every word of support, every step you take in faith. You're helping this space become a home for others who are seeking light in dark seasons. Your energy matters. You are part of something bigger now. And remember this, the universe doesn't just speak in signs. It speaks through you, through your courage, your softness, your surrender, through your decision to stay open when it would be easier to close. So stay open, stay anchored, stay ready, because this Friday, something sacred is already unfolding. And you, dear Sagittarius, are exactly where you're meant to be.